So I haven't really done one of these videos in a while, so we're gonna do another one, and mainly because I got a new gun. This is a Ruger American, I guess they call it the Tactical because it has this Magpul stock, I believe. Well, I got it in. This is my first 308, and I want to paint and scrim this guy because I don't really care for the black and silver-ish type of thing. Even if it wasn't black, I would still paint it. Anyways, we're gonna do that here in my barn, and let's get to it. First, I am going to put a base coat on. This one, I would like the base coat to be darker, so I have the Krylon Brown. This one just says Camouflage Non-Reflective Ultra Flat Finish right there. So I'm gonna coat the entire thing. I have capped off any holes that paint should not go through, like the barrel, the chamber back here, underneath the trigger there, and then I have just completely put a plastic bag around the scope because I'm going to take this off eventually and put it on a different scope, and so I don't really want to mix and match colors or paints or anything like that. That's just how I feel. So if you don't care about painting your scope, just make sure you tape off the actual two lenses as well as any numbers or anything that you may need to dial. Make sure you tape those off. The reason I'm doing a darker undercoat is for the main reason of I am going to eventually put some foliage on here and overlay it so that I can get a nice little pattern, and I want that foliage to be a sort of browner color, sort of like sticks or something like that. So I'm using a sort of stick or wood brown right here, and then I'll lay something over top and go over it with a different color. So underneath, the pattern that I want is going to stay the color that I want. All right, I'm gonna give that a few minutes to dry. And in the meantime, I'm actually going to go and fetch some foliage that I wanna put on here and get to it. So I got these, I'm going to say cedar. I don't know if this actually is cedar or not, but I got this because this is the pattern that I'm looking for, and I would just overlay it over the top and spray on a lighter color, like a green or a tan. The next paint I'm going to use is another Krylon Ultra Flat Camouflage. This one, honestly, it just, it doesn't even say a color on there, but it is green. Oh, it says on the back here, it says Camouflage Olive. That's what I'm looking at right there. All right, so what I'm gonna do is lay this over it right here. I should probably do it this way, maybe. It works all right. Now, I don't know this, but I'm guessing that it's better to go from darker to lighter color, at least in my case here. So I'm going from brown to olive to tan, and that way I can actually get more camouflage or that pattern that I want to. So I have it coming in brown now. You can actually really see it back here. But whenever I bring the tan in and I spray it over, then I'll also have that green pattern as well. So we'll see how it turns out. Now I know that I'm going to be scrimming over this later, so a lot of this, honestly, it doesn't really matter, especially if I'm going to cover up almost the entire front end of the rifle, but it's still nice to have an undertone just in case something does shine through, or, I mean, I don't know, down the road maybe you want to take the scrim off or something, and at least now you still have a painted rifle. That's not looking bad at all. Have a little bit of a splotch right there. Maybe I'll go back and see if I can touch that back up. All right, let's take a look at this guy. See this other side in the light here. Oh yeah. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Very cool. I'll bring it closer so you guys can see. So, oop, I have my fingerprints on it. I'll go back and touch it up, but there's one side. And here's the other side. It's a little overblown there. You could probably put on gloves if you care. If not, then just know that you're gonna get some paint all over you. And notice the way I'm doing this, I really do not care if there's gonna be some scratches or nicks or anything like that. So if you're the type of guy that wants it, I mean, to look like it's from the factory like this, you should probably be doing this much more carefully than I am. I just want it to look like not a black gun. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna let this guy dry for 10-15 minutes so I can actually handle it without messing any of the paint up, and then I'm going to start scrimming it. All right, so we're in my shop now. I had to bring over a light just because it's a little too dark, so I hope you guys are able to see. But the rifle has been drying, and so now I'm gonna take off all of the masking tape that I put on, which is including this plastic bag here that was covering the scope. And then little pro tip here, I actually rolled up just some paper towels and that was small enough to actually put down the chamber just in case any particles of spray paint would actually get through the painter's tape. At least I had one last thing that would keep any paint from actually getting really deep inside into the chamber. So this works. If you are looking for something or a way to make it look like it came like this from the factory, this is not the way. I don't care if I have splotches on here or clear indications that I put tape there. That's just the way I care about things. So there's that. You can see we have, like, that's exactly where I blocked off with tape. Same thing on this side. You can see back here that there's just a little bit of silver showing through. I really don't care. So with this, I will have to link this in post because I can't remember the name of this right now, but I have this synthetic jute here that I will use to scrim this rifle. I have a darker green and then I have a tan with a tiny bit of olive in it. And you'll see throughout the video, I'm just going to simply tie it all around this thing to make it look like it's all gillied up. Also, something that I used before on my ranch rifle and on my BCM that I'm going to use now is this Arcturus Camo Gear sniper veil. I believe you can just get this on Amazon. Maybe they just have their own website. I really can't remember where I got it from, but I'm going to use this also as a base in some areas just to really break up the outline and have stuff really hanging off and getting in the way. You want to make sure that whenever you're putting this stuff on, if you are scrimming your rifle, that you don't want anything to be able to get into the action itself. So be sure you have your bolt along with you so that you can test that out. So if you have something hanging over, like I do right here, if I were to have this on the side of the bolt instead, it could get caught up in me actually cycling the bolt, and I would hang up on this or pull it or anything like that. If I had it toward the middle of the scope, it could be hanging down and get into the chamber. You don't want that. So as much as we're going for looks, we are also going for function because we shoot our rifles here. And if you're unable to actually shoot the rifle, then what's the point of even having one? Same thing goes for if I were to have this a little bit further back or have it drape over the back there. That's not going to help me in any situation. Obviously, in the actual situation that I have to shoot this, I can move it out of the way, but I mean, sometimes you won't be able to. So just make sure that you are actually taking function into account whenever you're putting this stuff on as well. Also, I'm not trying to make it a specific pattern like I do, okay, green here, tan here, and green here, make it repeating or anything. I'm kind of just going to do it randomly because you don't really see a whole lot of repeating patterns in nature, at least not things that are not man-made. So we want this to look as natural as possible. Obviously, what we can do after the fact or during the fact while you're scrimming it, you could also get vegetation and put it in here while you're tying everything together and put it underneath and tie it over it, and some of it's sticking out. That way, I mean, that'll really break up your outline of a rifle and have natural vegetation coming off. Obviously, you want to make sure that it is in your area where you're getting the vegetation from, because if I get pines, I mean some pine needles or cedar trees, and put some of their branches on here, and then I go into the desert or something, that's not really going to blend in very well. So you want to take that into account. So I'm mostly just going to be using this on my property. I don't really see myself traveling too much with this rifle, so I'm going to make it how I would use it out here. And on my other ranch rifle, I actually do have bits of cedar sticking off of it, so it actually blends in with my hide back there. So pretty cool. I'm also just making this, I mean, I'm just tying a singular knot. If I want it to be a little bit more tight or make sure that knot doesn't come loose, I can also just loop it back over again, and that way it has to go through not one but two knots. I'm just weaving this in and out of the little cracks that I have here in the scope, making sure that I don't go over any of the turrets themselves and block those, and also making sure I don't go over any of the lenses. This way we can actually cover up the scope, the black color of the scope, without actually painting it, just by draping this over it and covering the spots that we can. All right, just from using a handful of strips, this is what it looks like now. Again, this is just with that sniper veil stuff. It definitely breaks up the outline a little bit, just to make it way less linear. As soon as we start adding the jute that we have here, it's gonna really break up the outline. Don't be afraid to go back over sections, because sometimes if you do too little, then it will definitely look like, I mean, not what you want it to look like. Sort of messing it up as well, just to make it not look extremely straight, because again, we're trying to break up the outline of the straight lines that everyone can see in a rifle. So we want it to, if I'm able to hold this up against the wall with a light shining straight on it, and you're not able to tell what it is because it's just a weird blob, then that's a great job. That's exactly what you want it to do, because the human eye will not be able to quickly discern what it is. If it's is that a gun? Is that a bush? Is that just a weird blob looking thing? Whatever. So I know I said human eye, maybe even animal eyes. I don't know how animal eyes work. I would assume that, yeah, maybe they'll just see it and be like, yeah, that's just another weird bush on this earth. So again, I know I said that I will be covering this up, so what's the point of painting? Two reasons. One, it covers two bases. So those of you that were looking for a rifle painting video with a little bit of pattern, there you go. I showed you in the beginning. Those of you that were looking for a scrimming video, there you go. You're able to see how I'm scrimming this, and if you want to do it the same way, then cool. Also, it just, you know, I mean, it fills in underneath. If I do leave any blank spaces or this comes off or I decide to take it off, hey, I still have a painted rifle, which is cool. I want to put some on the front of the rifle here. This may or may not be an issue, but I want to make sure that it doesn't go in front. Well, I mean, I'll be shooting suppressed, so I won't be able to reach the front anyways, so I guess that's not really an issue. I'm sort of looking this over as well, and just seeing if I see any super long strands that are definitely way longer than the rest, I'll go ahead and pull on those, and they'll usually be looser, and I'll just take those off and add them to another pile. So here's what we're looking like after a few minutes of doing it. That is definitely breaking up the outline of the rifle for sure. I'm still able to actuate the bipod, which is great. Let's see if I can collapse it and put it back to its stowed position. Yep, can still do that. Can still get them down too, with a little bit of work. Cool. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I'll even mix up some of these strands too. If I have a little bit of too much color in one, I'll be able to just mix the strands up a little bit and separate them. That way it's not all just straight green, straight tan, straight green, you know what I mean? That's not in the way here. And you can always go and cut some of these strands too if you need to, because you have the ability to do that. You have freedom of choice, so. All right, so I think I'm at a decent point to stop here. I'm just doing the front because usually that's the thing that's sticking out of wherever you're actually pointing. So, oh, I forgot to take this guy off. The thread protector itself is taped. I'll just take this off, and then I'll take the thread protector off. Well, first I'll show you guys. This is one side. This is the other. Make sure let's say that gets brushed forward. Let's say it gets brushed backward. Yep, still good to go there in terms of functionality, so that's great. Now let's take the thread protector off. Let's put the suppressor on. Obviously the suppressor is black and doesn't match any of the rifle, but for if you wanted to actually make this not look like a suppressor as well, you could probably get a suppressor cover made by anyone who you like and put it on here, and then you could probably scrim the suppressor cover as well. I wouldn't recommend scrimming the actual suppressor itself. Suppressors get very, very hot, especially if you shoot a lot. But if you put a suppressor cover on here, which has at least 2 layers of Kevlar or whatever they use to actually mitigate the heat, and then scrim over that, I think you'd be all right, especially if you're using it for a hunting gun or something where you aren't firing like a lot of rounds like an AR or something like that, I think you would be perfectly fine with scrimming over the actual suppressor cover itself. So this is the finished product. Obviously you can see that it is painted and scrimmed. I think it turned out pretty well. I can always go in and add anything or take out anything that I want to take out or add, but I am by no means a professional at doing this. I'm just doing it because I like it, and I like the way it looks, and it seems like other people like the way it looks, so that makes me happy too. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. And as always, I'll see you on the other side.